Hello, I'm Anthony Rainey, the superintendent of Montecito Union School.
And I'm Nick Bruschi, the principal.
Welcome to the Mustang Spotlight, where we focus on different items of importance to the school. Today we'll be talking about balanced mathematics. Nick?
In balanced mathematics, a lot of the mathematical experts that we respect and align ourselves with think of balanced mathematics in the term of a triangle with three vertices. They look at mathematical fluency, conceptual understanding, and application of math concepts to new and novel situations. Today we really want to dive into mathematical fluency. If you think about reading fluency, it's how reasonably fast and accurate a student can read. And in mathematics, mathematical fluency is very much the same. How reasonably fast and accurate can a student do mathematics? Do they have their facts memorized? Do they have a variety of strategies at their beck and call when they approach complex problems?
You know, I don't think fluency in mathematics is anything new. I mean, when I went to school, it was flashcards and maybe the occasional game and lots of timed tests. Perhaps you did something like this when you were a kid. Man, I can relate to that kid, that poor kid. Wait, but we're not saying that fluency is not important. In Common Core, do we not want kids to be fluent in mathematics?
No, it's absolutely important, but I think the process is also important. So we want students to really develop that conceptual understanding before we start sending them messages that fast is good, fast is good. They need to understand a multiplication array or what happens when 5 apples fall off a tree that has 12 apples on it. But we want them to understand what happens first, and then the speed will come when they understand that material better.
That sounds like it makes sense, but why don't we go into a classroom to see a little bit more about fluency as it is today in Montecito Union School. And with that, we'll send it off to math specialist Jeff Linder for a third grade classroom and a deep dive.
Hi, I'm Jeff Linder. Let's see how fluency develops over the third grade year. Looking closely at the cards for each day, students explore patterns around equal groups and the concept of multiplication before it is formally introduced. After completing a month of interaction with the calendar, teachers begin to present more in-depth lessons around equal groups. In this specific lesson called the Pet Shop, students are investigating ways to determine how many of a specific type of object are found in the pet shop. They notice that the objects are arranged in equal groups and that there are more efficient ways to find the number of objects than counting them one by one. The next step in the fluency process is giving students opportunities to practice working with equal groups. Here you see a third grade student using Dreambox. In this lesson, the student is given a total number of objects and needs to determine how to break down that number of objects into equal groups. Here you see third graders using a program called Singing Groove, where the multiples are learned by singing them to a catchy song similar to how we learned our alphabet. In this example, students are singing their multiples of 3.
27, 30, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
Skip counting in multiples is then connected with the area model. Students see another way to represent multiplication is with rows of boxes or tiles. Here is a poster representing the 8s visually. After a strong foundation of conceptual understanding has been developed, students begin to work on moving away from skip counting and into developing fluency. Once the focus shifts to fluency, students use the visual models, skip counting, and patterns in the numbers to help them commit the multiplication facts to memory. A great way for students to develop their fact fluency is through games. The key with games is that students are getting opportunities for repeated practice of their multiplication facts. In addition, they are getting instant feedback about the accuracy of their answer from their opponent.
Wow, that was a whole lot of fluency practice in that third grade classroom. What'd you think, Nick?
Absolutely. I love seeing the math in action. I love seeing visual models. I love seeing strategies and not just a sheet of facts.
It's good stuff, but let's learn more. Let's hear from a teacher, in this case Mrs. Mather, and let's also hear from a student about fluency practice in the classroom today.
So it's important for students to have fact fluency and automaticity because it frees up their mental capacity to solve more complex mathematical problems. So for example, if a student were having a complex problem and they were stuck for a few minutes trying to solve 8 times 9, they'll lose track of the bigger problem that they were working on initially.
Ways we practice math fluency in our class is we do a math minute, which we have 50 fluency problems and we are timed for 2 minutes and we see how many we get in those 2 minutes. Also, we do 8 minutes of fluency in every beginning of our math sessions, and it can really help us out. Also, we do these fluency games in our math crate, which are really fun, but they really help us out on fluency.
Those were some great points from the teacher and the student. Let's see some more examples across the grade levels here at Montecito Union School.
The major fluency focus in kindergarten is working with the number 5. Students use a math rack and a 10 frame with a variety of lessons and games. The key is to see different ways to make 5. For example, 5 is seen as 4 and 1 or 2 and 3. We also want students to see 5 in larger numbers. As in this example, we want students to see the number 6 on a math rack made up as a 5 and 1 more. The fluency focus in first grade is on making 10. When students are able to compose and decompose numbers into 10, they can better manipulate numbers mentally. Here you see a student-made flip chart made with 6 objects on one side and 4 objects on the other. Looking closely at the yellow post-it note, you can see all the relationships that can be modeled from this flip chart. In second grade, students apply the foundation developed in first grade with tens to adding on to larger numbers. In this second grade class, you can see students playing a dice game where they add 1 or more groups of 10 to a single-digit number. In this example, a student rolled a 6 and needs to mentally leap 2 tens to get to the answer of 26. The other major fluency piece in second grade is to commit the addition and subtraction facts to 20 to memory. As we saw in third grade, the fluency focus shifts from addition and subtraction to multiplication and division. With the foundation developed in third grade, the fourth grade fluency focuses on building the automaticity of the multiplication and division facts. The primary ingredients are clear fluency expectations, time to practice, and timely feedback. Here you see a student working on a page of 50 multiplication problems with the goal of completing them in 2 minutes. Fluency in 5th and 6th grade is about maintaining the work that was done in the primary grade levels. Let's send it back to you guys.
So hopefully we've shown you how important fluency really is to a mathematician's success here at school. But we've also really tried to send the message that conceptual understanding is equally as important and should probably even come before fluency. You know, I like to use the analogy of Wi-Fi in someone's home, where if too many things are running at once, it's really going to slow down everything else. And if one of our young students is trying to solve a hard mathematical problem, but most of their mind is trying to figure out 6 times 7, that doesn't leave a lot of bandwidth to really get to the hard mathematics.
That makes sense. Are you saying that fluency is the most important part of that triangle then?
No, absolutely not. I think you've even heard in this fluency video how much talk we've had about conceptual understanding.
Sure.
Those two are really working hand in hand, and as we just used that bandwidth analogy, when those two work together, it frees up a student to do that novel application to new mathematical scenarios. You know, as a parent, what will we hope you take away from this video? We hope you've heard today that fluency is important, but we don't want to send those messages about speed being better when kids are young. We want them to master what addition and subtraction really look like, what does it really mean when I multiply and divide, and that speed should come later after that. You know, if a parent ever has questions about how to support their mathematician, always reach out to the classroom teacher. There's great resources like Dreambox and card games that we'd be happy to recommend to support our students' mathematical growth.
Well, I hope you've learned a little bit about balanced mathematics here at Montecito Union School. Once again, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for joining us on Mustang Spotlight. See you next time, Mustangs!